All right, let's begin with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the November 18th Marion County Commission meeting. Any public comments today?
I might make one. I'm coming to you as a Marion County taxpayer as opposed to a frequent Marion County Lake camper. My last name is spelled S-T-I-K-A. This is a long-standing name in Marion County since the 1800s. What I am going to discuss with you is the possibility, because you were talking about over, I think, 5-year period or so, building new public docks. Is it a possibility that you might check with some of the dock owners out there and see if they'd be interested in selling their docks to the county, provided that they're good in good sound condition and a reasonable price and that. I mean, it never hurts to check and see if they might be interested in doing something like that. And the other issue that I have is with, what's it called, Stone Arch Cove. That roadway in that area is, I think it's a safety issue out there. You might want to do some checking on that. So, you know, at first we kind of talked about possibly like a guardrail, but I guess part of that bank or something is kind of eroding away. So you might want to check into what could be done out there before there is an accident out there and somebody gets killed or injured or whatever. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online wishing to make public comments? If so, unmute your microphone. Okay, not seeing anything, we'll close public comments. Move into agenda approval. Any additions to the agenda? If not, the agenda will be approved and we'll move into administrative. Ashley.
Okay. We have early checks and the longevity pay today in the amount of $381,621.77. The early or the longevity is $38,484.41, which is included in that first number I gave you.
Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'd make that motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dahlke, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Questions or discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
And that's all I have for you today.
All right, thank you. Gina?
In your packet, you had a letter of support for the city of Peabody for a middle-income housing grant. You had done a letter of support at the beginning of last year, and they're applying again for a grant, so.
Same project?
The project, I don't know if it's the same project or not. I don't know that she included that in her request.
Mayor?
It's Becky Nickel with the Community Foundation is the one that was working on this and submitted the request. I know that they're looking to I'm not sure exactly which project they applied for last year, but they're applying for a project to develop several duplexes, I believe.
Yeah, I just wondered, it says infrastructure too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a project for just around the Main Street area.
Oh, no, this is for housing.
Okay.
Yeah. The infrastructure on that, the letter last year was for an area north of Highway 50, I believe. I kept the infrastructure in there because regardless of the location, that may be a need, so.
Other questions? Now, is there a motion to approve the letter?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Dalkey, second by Commissioner Garing. Any other discussion or questions? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
And this was not in your packet, but I gave you a copy on the table this morning. It is time to basically write off delinquent personal property taxes that have been delinquent for, I believe it's 20 years. I'm not sure. Is that what she said in the email?
It says 20 years.
Okay, so we have the resolution for approval, and then there's some documentation here if you would like to look at that.
Who to sign this?
Well, you haven't
Well,
made your motion yet.
Let's
So it's just for you to look at the moment.
going to give commissioners a chance to review the information before the motion. So keep it at that end, and if then you're ready for the motion, we'll proceed.
All the paperwork here. Is it mostly oil and gas?
Yeah, some companies that I don't even recognize anymore.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
Actually, would it be resolution 26?
Elmer's Plumbing and Heating.
Had a chance to review.
Move the car
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-26? So moved. Motion by Commissioner Becker, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dahlke. Discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Aye. It's late.
Where did this bring us up to? What would be the oldest delinquent tax now?
So this is for personal property, and I can get the treasurer to come in and talk to you about that if you'd like.
Be like just trailers and stuff like that, not actual property tax.
I mean, I don't know exactly the process for them, so.
5-0?
Yes.
Sorry.
Do you want the treasurer to come in on the next meeting, or do you want me to?
No, I just, so we have to do this again for 15 more years, or?
Well, I know we've done it recently. So I think we might be doing it every year now, and we'll be dropping off the last.
Done it before.
Right, yeah. And I can follow up with Tina and just,
Cleans up the books.
Also has a statutory limitation on how far back we can go. So far that gets rectified that way.
Okay, next.
and I gave you the administrative report on the table today. It's was kind of a busy week last week, so. It doesn't look like it on the report, but anyway, I don't have any other administrative.
Any questions for Tina? Not seeing any, we'll move to Brad. What do you have for us today?
This is not for action, but I just wanted to give you something. At the outset, it's pretty simplistic, but there's enough of them. I think I did that. We had talked last meeting about the Osage Road issue and the
Yes.
general consensus to go ahead and at least have planning and zoning look at it. That really requires a resolution pursuant to the statute, and I went ahead and prepared one for that purpose. Absolutely no reason for you to take action on it at this point, because Harvey County hasn't yet, and the request started with that. So, but I did want you to have it in front of you. Should that come up, then I will finish it in terms of all the signatures, the way we do them as opposed to the way they do them elsewhere. And that's the description also, in case you want to go take a look at what we're talking about. So,
The Harvey Marion.
yeah, the contiguous roadway where we share half. And again, the complexity of it is the fact that what we did some time ago, which is practical, is every other mile is divided in terms of maintenance. One, the whole roadway, every other mile is ours, and Marion, then ours, and so on. So there was a question about that, and that is not something that we can divide out just that way for purposes. We still own, or have jurisdiction over half of each of those miles. But it's fairly self-explanatory otherwise, but I wanted to make sure that was in your hands should they do something with it this week, I can bring it back.
So, like the culvert's out now, goes to minimum maintenance, what they're wanting to do. I don't follow their thoughts here. I mean,
And the,
are they gonna not even put a culvert back in?
that I don't know. When the township chair for that township, since Harvey County still uses that approach,
Yeah.
went ahead and made the presentation. I can share that letter that was sent to Harvey County with you, and I'll do that. I didn't even think about that until now. I got it over the weekend, a copy of it. He is happy to appear here, at least he seemed to be willing, to explain their thoughts on it as well. And given that we have a different system, which is unified in nature, said there isn't another township board. Initially, I said, well, you know, you could talk to the contiguous township as well, because a lot of those people are gonna have an interest. But I said, in terms of the approach that the county will take, it will rest here. And so he said, well, do I need to go talk with them? I said, well, start with Harvey County if they'll even do it. Since your township is on that side of the line. And then if you wanna talk with the township contiguous to you on the other side, that's fine, to get their thoughts and some of the surrounding property owners on the Harvey County side. And then I would suggest the possibility might exist to come here and answer those kinds of questions.
Is that standard practice over when in a township system, that the township president comes in and asks for the bridge to be
It's
or
not,
road or whatever?
yeah, it's not abnormal. It can be done by any of the residents along there as well as taxpayers, but generally it's going to be, starts with that entity because they're the ones who are responsible for some of the road maintenance within, on just those kinds of township roads in the county.
I'm just wondering, because there's a new house residence in Harvey County, their driveway comes to this road, and it is right down in that area, and I just.
And several of the interested parties along there and in the area that would be impacted by it did appear at that meeting last week. And in essence spoke against it, said that they had gone to the township board on several occasions, as I understood it, making a request for like a 5-year plan or putting something together to maintain that road, and made some good points. Didn't give them in writing, so I don't have those in any other form other than an oral presentation about, look, UPS comes out that way, you know, several of the delivery services, the bus route is impacted by it. They do have the train tracks going through there, and they tend to use that area a lot just to park them. And when they do, this road becomes more important for, you know, getting around some of that when they're trying to do that. They said there's other haulers that come through, and it isn't just farmers using the roadway. So had a fairly large number of stakeholders that they were pointing out really would be impacted by it, and they weren't in favor. But again, the process is no different here than it would be there. Send it to planning and zoning and let them have the public hearing, go through and discuss all of those things and make a determination as to whether they think it's even remotely advisable to consider, then make a recommendation to you with all of that information having been considered.
What I'm reading is opposition to making it a minimum maintenance road.
Yeah, that's all I'm hearing, so.
The process to voice our opposition is still turn it to planning and zoning,
Yeah.
hold the hearing, and then
Yeah.
come back.
Yep. The way we're set up, anything like that generally should go through them first. They do all of the questioning similar to what you're asking. Get those kinds of answers and then be responsible to provide those to you so you hit the ground running in terms of knowing what the process is. And they're having given some thought to it from a comprehensive plan perspective and how it impacts the overall quality of life and function of our infrastructure in the county. And then it comes to you. And again, the same process exists there that you see in every other instance. If you look at it and go, that's not good enough, you haven't answered all the questions yet, you can remand it back. You can reject their recommendation, or you can say, yeah, we agree, it's fine, whichever way you choose to go with that. But I will say there was some opposition to reducing it to that. Township is the one primarily, it appears, the board are the ones who are primarily interested in taking it to that level.
Any other questions for Brad?
I'm gonna go back to that commission and tell them that you're receptive generally, I think, to letting your planning and zoning commission take a look at it. But that there's still a lot of questions.
And I'd say generally opposed to returning it to minimum maintenance.
I'll just deliver it.
Would you make a recommendation that we approve the resolution? Today or hold off?
No, I'd hold off.
Okay.
Let since it was presented first to Harvey County,
See what they do.
See what they do.
I think they're gonna go ahead, because
Okay.
we were instructed to prepare this, that they will go ahead and send it to planning and zoning, just so it's reviewed at that level, so everybody feels like they got heard. But there wasn't overwhelming, well, there really wasn't overwhelming reaction either way. I think it was the first they had to consider it. And, I said I would raise it here also, just so, you know, if everybody wanted to send it to planning zoning, fine, and if not, so be it.
Since you're the man that can answer the questions. Harvey County rejects it. Send it to Marion County. Marion County said, oh, we'd like to have it to a passable road. Does Marion County have the right to take that over then, if so be?
If you so chose. The issue is you're picking up an obligation that has other taxpayers on it in another county who should be contributing to it. Then what we'd have to do is negotiate whether, you know, there'd be an in-kind payment from one county to the other. That would all be part of the process.
Just asking what if.
Yeah. And I got the question there, well, what if one county says yes, the other says no? I said, then it's no. Because it's not, as a practical matter, you
Okay.
can't just do half a road.
Okay.
But usually what we try to do is get to a point where there wasn't that impasse. Try to figure out, well, what do both counties want? I think the township's looking at it from their side as an economic issue and saying, yeah, we don't have the funds and what it would take for us to do that. I mean, that remains to be seen.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Okay?
next issue.
Security contract. I don't know if that would get from Steve Davis get to you.
I'm meeting with Steve next week, so
Okay.
that's not coming in here at the moment.
Okay, and I'm premature with that one. I just thought he had sent it to, I think, to Tina and to myself, and I went through it. No changes from last year, but I'll let her go through that process first, but I had that on my list. And I do know you had all received the resolution, so if there's any initial input or other thoughts at a later date individually on the resolution that the Marion County Fire Chiefs have put together. Tina and I talked about that at our meeting on Friday. I'm drafting some, what I'll call punitive elements to it. In the case of failure, we really don't have much other than you shouldn't do that. And literally in there right now, it needs some type of administrative fees to be assessed in the event that there's a failure to comply. We have that issue, as I went through this, a number of places in our current governmental scheme and our resolution system that probably also need that kind of a recommendation. I'm probably going to bring that back to you with some of the others as well. There's a number of places where we tell citizens what should or shouldn't be done in the best interest of all the infrastructure maintenance and everything else, but we don't have a methodology to I don't want to call it punish, but to have an element of responsibility created with a daily fine or any kind of administrative cost.
Since you brought it up, how about fence building?
It's exactly what I'm referring to. Right now, there's a big gap in a lot of those. They're written and they were all written somewhat the same way, and there's nothing in them. So what you end up doing is now taking them to, or an encroachment, like we've had in a number of instances. We have the ability to create these kind of fees, not that you want to necessarily hit people overly hard, but you want something so that there's some responsibility taken when they violate it. And they've had the opportunity to correct it and haven't. Right now, our only option is to take it to district court and incur the expense each and every time to get a judgment, and then have the court order those fees. they're subject to review, so the citizen involved doesn't lose anything. They can take it there and say, I don't think this is fair or right, after it's been through the administrative review with this body, or any other. But right now, there's just nothing, and that's a little unusual. A lot of the counties do have that in place, as I look through them. So, anyway, so if there are thoughts with regard to that resolution, not collectively responded to, but individually, if you have thoughts or questions that you either send to Tina or to me, that would be fine. But that I know they want to get done at some point soon. On the planning and zoning renewable energy, we have, I call it 6, but like at least 5 of the topics that you had assigned. Several of those I took, and I'm pretty well through with the surveying of all of that. The question that I have for the board is if you want periodic updates on all of that, or if you would rather it went through planning and zoning and then you just get a mass response, as just so you know what's going on as we go, like on the things that I've already done. I'm not going to speak for Sharon, but whether you want those as well.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, what have you done? I mean, you
Like,
reviewed the standard.
yeah, I looked at a number of other counties in terms of what process they followed.
Compare anything.
Yes. And to see if there's holes in what we did, and I find a lot of them are similar, I'll be honest with you, but you know, the going back through their minutes and talking with their support staff, you gather quite a bit of information. And whether you want that periodically provided to you, or if you'd rather it went through, you know, the process that you've assigned completely and then bring it back.
I have a feeling if it doesn't trickle in, it's gonna be an overload.
But, I mean, could I say something?
Yes, please.
I mean, you assigned that to planning and zoning.
Yes.
So I would assume that you would want the counselor to work with the planning and zoning staff to bring that back and go through their process.
Yeah, this is just informational. I'm not trying to.
We don't want to micromanage it.
Right.
Yeah, you want a deadline, or don't you? Or don't you want to have some sort of date that you're working towards?
To
Or-
the end of the year, September.
So you put it all together and wait till the end of the year?
Okay, whichever. I mean, if you want the information that Brad has gathered to come to you first, that's fine. We just need to make sure that it's also being provided and worked through the planning and zoning.
Yeah, it would
because it's kind of-
presume that they had it first, yeah.
Be a copy.
I'd rather see them finish it in entirety before we start picking at it.
Instead of getting piecemeal.
My only thought is I wanted to be absolutely sure that we had everything that you wanted. As we discussed it and you kind of laid your list, that's all. But I'm not looking to turn this upside down. I'm just wanting to be sure.
The other thing is to go through their process, and then if commission finds gaps.
I mean, are you looking at setbacks with this?
All of that.
Reading a consensus to let planning and zoning go through their process.
Yeah, it sounds like that's, and I think Tina probably would prefer that as well, which is certainly fine. I'm not looking to.
Well, you know, it has been brought to our attention that comprehensive plan has not been reviewed.
Correct.
For 5 years. And when that was drawn up, at least that was my understanding, that it would be a go through a review process every 5 years. So, I mean, that broadens a whole lot of things then, you know, and I know that will take, how long to go through? That'll take 6 months in itself, probably more than that, maybe a year. 6 to 9 months anyway, just to review the comprehensive plan. But that's something that's gonna have to come up down the road too.
Most of the time when I've been gone through that process, obviously planning and zoning coordinates that also, but they will have citizen input types of meetings on different things as well. So yeah, that is more laborious process.
I mean, if that was the way it was drawn up, that's the way it ought to be done, instead of just saying, well, probably won't be any changes. Well, that's not a review. And, you know, I realize with a once a month meeting, that takes a lot of time.
Especially if there's other things on the agenda.
I mean, it took several years to draw up the comprehensive plan.
The next one is an executive session on potential litigation. I would say 5 minutes unless you guys have a lot of questions.
All right. I move that we recess to executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege with Commission Brad and Tina for 5 minutes from 1 o'clock to 1:05. 1:01 to 1:06. Don't clock this way. Commissioner Gearing, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0, back at 1:06. Out of executive session, no decisions made. What do you have next on the list?
One last executive session, contract negotiations. I think again, 5 minutes today would be enough.
Okay, would that come under,
Attorney-client privilege.
okay. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss contract negotiations pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege. Commission Brad and Tina for 10 minutes. That'd be 1:07 to 1:17. Second by Commissioner Gearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0, back at 1:17. All right, we are out of executive session, no decisions made. We'd like to go back in for another 10 minutes. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss contract negotiations pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege with Commission Brad and Tina for 10 minutes, 1:20 to 1:30. Second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0, back at 1:30. We'll be back.
Okay, we're on.
Okay, we got 2 minutes yet.
So you gotta go to Colorado today?
Moving my buddy back here.
Your buddy.
No, I bought him a camper.
Renting
Stay out in there.
a U-Haul truck, Eddie.
Well, he's got a bunch of stuff to come. He's got a paint hauling trailer and he's got a roll-off dumpsters. Decided he was done with Colorado.
Finger?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. There's not very many of them around here.
So you gotta pull a trailer out to them.
Yeah, so we're gonna go out there and pull his gooseneck back. Pull his paint trailer back. And pull his Jeep with his furniture mover trailer on. Already got one pickup here.
Gonna be a party, huh?
I've already been out there twice this year. The last time over the pass was a little bit sketchy. I had the blazer on the back of my truck and it snowed about 7 inches. Yeah, about to the crest of the peak and
Off traction.
started to lose traction. Semi in front of me was slipping and sliding and I was pushing buttons and trying to get four-wheel drive to engage and I finally got her. But I used his trailer brakes down the backside of that whole mountain. I said, forget it, I ain't burning myself up.
All right, our time's up. We're on right. Out of executive session, no decisions made. Anything else for us, Brad?
That's it for today.
All right. Calendar-wise, no meeting Monday. We will have a meeting Wednesday, the 27th, 9 AM, payday meeting. There's nothing else?
Comments?
Go ahead.
Comments?
Go ahead.
Do we have in our field offices in here a survey system, a security system that's watching the customers coming in and how we're treating our customers?
I believe so. I mean, we have cameras.
Okay, so if a customer's unhappy with the way they was treated, how can they go about just discussing or talking about it to the right person?
You wanna go back and look at the film from last Friday or something?
So if somebody has,
Asking, see what our process is.
if somebody has a problem with something, it would be good for them to come in and visit with us about it.
Okay.
So you can send them to me, and then I can work with whatever department it is to.
I didn't know whether our cameras was running full while we're going or not, for full view of the room or not, I didn't know.
It just depends on the location, so I can't answer that without more information, so maybe we can talk later.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anything else? If not, I move to adjourn. Second by Commissioner Garing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We are adjourned.